This video is put together to help drivers complete their work diary under the National Heavy Vehicle Law. Remember, it's against the law to drive a fatigue-regulated heavy vehicle if you're affected by fatigue.
Hi, my name is Kenworth. I'm going to fill out a work diary using the standard hours.
We know it's compulsory unless you have an exemption approved by the regulator, so we might as well get it right and save the hurt to the hip pocket.
The first things you want to check when you get a new diary is that the application form, which is the first page, is completely filled in. The issuing officer has signed it and given their name on it. Now let's go to filling out the daily page. It's best to do this as you go along to stay on top of it. Make sure we fill in all the information correctly that's asked for. If this isn't done, you could receive a fine. Sections you need to fill out are your name, your license number, number plate of the vehicle you're driving, today's date, what day of the week it is, the state you're based in for the time zone, and the scheme that you're driving under, whether it be standard, basic fatigue management, or advanced fatigue management. If you're under an exemption, make sure you've ticked that box. And if you're going to do a vehicle check for maintenance or mass management, you'll make sure you've got that information filled in as well.
Drivers who need to complete daily or pre-trip checks need to be accurate when recording the time for those checks.
In one intercept that we saw, the driver claimed he took half an hour to do his vehicle check that morning, but he had a completely bald outer tyre which would have shown up.
Making false entries is an offence.
Next we have to fill in the time, the place, and the odometer.
It is common practice for many drivers to use the steering wheel to fill out their diary.
Make sure that wherever you fill it out, the diary is steady enough to make your entries clear.
The instructions are very clear that a driver must record on the daily sheet just after you start a work period or just before you start a rest period.
It's important that you fill out your work and rest time at every change between work and rest. To record work hours, draw a straight line across the daily sheet in the My Work area to match the hours of work. I've driven from 6 till 10 p.m. I prefer to use a ruler. Mark this, keeps it much more neat and tidy and looks professional. And now I'm going to have a 15-minute rest break.
Each gap indicates a 15-minute section, and there are 4 indicating an hour.
When you switch from work to rest, or rest to work, you must draw a vertical line.
A recent survey of transport employers indicated fines received for not ruling vertical lines.
Whenever you change from work to rest or rest to work, you must record the location and the odometer reading. So I've stopped in Grafton, and the speedo says 40,500.
It is important if you stop somewhere and cannot locate a place name, for example at a rest stop that doesn't have a name or a sign, that you put directional instructions in your book. You can use your GPS or use the distance from the last known town.
You can see two examples here. When I start work again, I don't need to write anything as the location and odometer haven't changed.
Another important fact to remember is if you're in a suburb of a capital city, for example Laverton in Melbourne, Oxley in Brisbane, Campbelltown in Sydney, you must record that as the place, not Melbourne, Brisbane or Sydney.
If the end of your rest period is on the next daily sheet, you must repeat the place name and odometer reading at the end of the rest break on the new daily sheet. There is now a space for comments on the diary page. It can be used to record things like vehicle breakdown, roadworks, or if you are pulled over by an authorised officer, or if a rest area was full.
If you're pulled up by an authorized officer and kept there for longer than 5 minutes, you can ask them to sign your work diary, supply their name and badge number, and the amount of time they kept you there. I start driving again at 10:15 p.m. Plan to travel for 3.5 hours, which will take me onto a new work diary page, and then I'll have another 15-minute break. So I route to the end of page 1, which shows I've worked 5 3/4 hours on that page. Then at the start of the next page for midnight, I put in that I've worked 1 3/4 hours. That's my 3.5 hours. It's also a total of 7.5 hours I've been driving.
If you're on standard hours, you must have worked no more than 7.5 hours and must have a half-hour break.
An A period of 11 hours, I'm allowed to drive 10. Must have break times that total at least an hour, and they can be taken as 4 15-minute breaks, 2 30-minute breaks, or 2 15 minutes and a 30-minute break combined. In any 24-hour period, I must not have worked more than 12 hours, and I must also have had a 7-hour continuous rest.
This video has been about filling out the work diary under standard hours only. Basic and advanced fatigue management are options available to accredited operators. To work under a BFM or AFM accreditation, you must be trained and inducted into the operator's fatigue management system. BFM work and rest hours can be found in the front of your work diary. All advanced fatigue management or AFM applications have to be approved by the regulator. What is considered work in the diary? Work can include activities such as loading or unloading your truck, vehicle checks, fueling up, or anything else to do with your vehicle. Some top tips for the diary. Make sure you've filled out all the personal details at the top of the page, including your name, licence number, rego of the vehicle, the day and date, the time zone of your base, and your work rest hours option. Keep your diary neat. If you need to cross out in your work and rest areas, make sure you use a squiggly line and a straight neat line anywhere else on the diary page. Remember to initial your changes. Fill out the comments box if needed. Remember to include details of breakdowns, roadworks, intercepts, etc. This could save you issues later on.
Some tips for alert driving. Take regular breaks. Eat good healthy food when you can. Get some exercise. Get quality sleep. And drink plenty of water.